Tuck Erie and the Joel Natale Show, live here from our Kingdom Financial Group studio, also live on YouTube and Facebook. And I've got a treat for you all here. In studio, we've got Rob Frank, Shari Robinson. They're from the Alzheimer's Association, getting ready for the big walk to end Alzheimer's this Saturday. Folks, thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it, Rob.
No
thank you, Shari.
Excited to be here.
All righty. So tell us about how you all got involved.
Shari, why don't you
this.
start with that?
Oh, well, I actually got involved mostly because of my father, and he passed from Alzheimer's. But Amber, who was actually my intern years ago, is now highly involved and manages a lot of the walks. And she came to me and said, hey, I know the story. I know what happened with your dad. And we think that this would be something that you would be great for. And I really wanted to do it because it honors the people that we have lost and that are still going through this. So it was a very cool connection.
And much like Shari, unfortunately, we share a common bond of losing our fathers to this disease.
Wow.
Similar situation. My father passed in 2017. And, I didn't get involved in the walk right away, but actually it was 2020, I was selling these shirts that had a phrase tied to my dad. And after I sold the shirts, Sarah got a hold of me, and she's like, hey, you should... I did a donation to the Alzheimer's Association, and she's like, you should get involved in our walk team. I'd never been to walk, and I'd wanted to go a few times, but I never went. And then Sarah convinced me to go, and then the next year she asked me to be the chair, and then I was the chair, and then that led us eventually to Shari. So we have a unfortunate common bond.
Mm-hmm. Very strong because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to me. I did a quick look at the website here, and it looks like quite a few folks have already signed up to be in this walk here in Erie at Perry Square on Saturday. Pretty remarkable, huh?
Last time I checked, I think it was at 697 participants, and that's, I think, our highest number we've ever had. It's hard to gauge because the problem is, not the problem, it's actually a great thing, that guests bring guests.
Okay.
So they
could just show up.
Yeah, I mean, and that's great. I mean, it's awesome. It's what we want. And so if you're a family of 2 or 3 or 4, and then your cousin comes with you, or your mom or your grandma or somebody like that, and suddenly your team of 4 or your team of 5 is now a team of 12. So we have a lot of extra people there, which is awesome. Visually it's a very amazing experience, and it's one of those things that we invite people. Even if you haven't fundraised. Even if you haven't started a team, it's in Perry Square. It's in a public square. You should come down and you should see the power of this walk, and you should see what it does. And if you want to fundraise, there's 48 hours left, and you can do that.
Yeah, and many ways to do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can really raise a lot of money in 48 hours given social media, and
right.
if you have a decent sized network. What do you want people to leave with by participating?
So the walk itself, and Shari, have you been to the walk?
So I have not been to the walk yet. This is one of the things I always like to express to people is that we were just going through what we were, and I didn't reach out to the Alzheimer's Association, and I wish that I had, and I wish for everyone, and it's a big reason that I'm doing this, I wish that everyone would have that resource available to them and know that they could call, because it's just a confusing thing. There are multiple stages, multiple levels, multiple new situations, and they're there to help with that. They help with that, and then they're also doing the research for the fight against it being something that continues.
And you really got to remember that that need, that engine of research and of care and that needs that fuel of money constantly.
Yeah.
You always have to be fundraising, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. And obviously when you're talking about brain health, there's so many aspects and so many things, and we're learning so much that the organization, the overarching organization, the Alzheimer's Association, has really started to talk about an era of treatment. If you went back even 5 years, the limited drugs on the market weren't very effective, but that's changed with things like Leqembi and other drugs that are on the market now. And the messaging has really changed about hey, we're turning the corner here. We're making a difference, and it's really exciting. And to answer your question about what can people expect, my first walk ever was 2021, and It is a very uplifting thing. It's a little hard at times, but what's really cool is we walk from Perry Square out to Gridley Park and back, and it's out 6th Street, down Millionaires Row. It's going to be 75 degrees and sunny. We shut the street down. The city shuts the street down about halfway down in front of the Community Foundation. Brooke Surgener is playing music. At the end of Gridley Park, Penn State Barron has their trailer park there, and there's a bunch of cheerleaders and people on it, and they're all cheering for you, and that's the turn, and you come back. And when you're coming back, suddenly there's this like sea of purple as far as you can see all the way back to Perry Square. So I think it's a great walk because its route allows you to, go as far as you're comfortable going. So if you're someone that's like, well, I'd love to go, but I don't know how far I can walk, you can always turn back. It's a there and back kind of thing. But also you get to see all these other people pass them, high five them. We have all these photos of people high fiving each other as they're walking by each other on their way back. And it's just a really cool, fun event to be a part of. The Promise Garden ceremony, which I don't want to reveal too much about, is very emotional, very moving. And then you come back and everybody takes their flowers and they plant them in the ground. And it's a visual that is worth seeing.
Do you have any idea if those that have heard from their doctor, hey, we might think that you have early onset, or we might think that you're dealing with this disease, that they actually participate in the walk?
Oh, they do. And actually there's, again, without revealing too much about the Promise Garden because I don't want to, it's one of those things you really can experience. We actually identify whether you're an advocate, a caregiver, suffering from the disease, or have a loss in the family from the disease. And there's a way that you identify with everybody. And it's pretty powerful because you can look across the crowd and see those different aspects of the whole thing right there in front of you.
That's the part I'm really excited to see. And I that's the part I'm most excited to see, and I didn't want to reveal it because I also haven't seen it, but I can imagine that, and it speaks to something that's just so important about, again, the different places that you might find yourself when you're going through this diagnosis with somebody and dealing with it.
I noticed that Lecom Health is one of the sponsors. Talk about some of the other folks that are getting involved here locally. Again, Erie's a very giving community,
Lecom came on as a Tidal Walk sponsor in 2021, I believe, was the first year. And so many others. And what's really cool about, and I think Shari can attest to this too, there's a major you have a major gift from Lecom, but there's also a bunch of smaller ones, but those smaller ones are just as important. And, we don't want people to think that just because you're not a Lecom doesn't mean you can't support. And all the way down to the person that raised $50 as a couple, and sold some cookies or whatever, it all contributes.
Adds up. And those small ones, when you get 10 or 15 or 20 really do add up, and they give you an opportunity to be involved with it. We have many committee members that are going through their personal experience and have been out there raising, and then they also, through their companies, people have joined together to do a larger donation. So there's just a million ways to get involved and be part of it.
Is there an online component? If someone's just, we've been kind of spoiled with Erie Gives, where we can just on our phones drop $50 or whatever.
Yes.
Is there a way to do that way?
Yes, there is. You can do that on the Walk website. You can look up Erie's Walk website, and you can go on there. You can make an online donation. Obviously, they want you to create a team and come to the walk, but you can create a team and make a donation and not come to the walk. But if you're going to do that, you should come to the walk too, because it is a really. I'm excited for Shari to see it for the first time. I remember how I felt when I saw it the first time.
Yeah, I've thought about it a lot, because here's the other thing: when I got the chance to be around people who had gone through this, and I walked in to be on the committee, everybody told their story, and I struggle to tell my story. I really do. It hits your heart every time you talk about it, and when you're going through that with somebody, it goes on. My dad, it was 10 years, so like to talk about it all the time, you kind of had to put it in a place, and each person told their story, and you felt the depth of that while it was there. So I know that the people that are at the walk are going to feel that. And my big thing is, somehow you're going to run into this. It's maybe in your own family, or maybe it's a friend who has a parent or a sibling that goes through it. So this is for everybody to be knowledgeable about and to come and find out about.
And I think it was really difficult for people to, and this personally, my experience, it was difficult for me to I wanted to go to the walk many times after my dad passed in 2017, and I never did. And when I finally went, I realized that my fear of it was actually misplaced. And it was actually a really good thing for me to be a part of. So I think people should totally go for so many reasons. I mean, community sport's one thing, but we're also, 10 years ago when we talked about this disease, we were talking it from a position of negativity. Right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fear, right?
Fear.
I mean, gosh.
Fear and negativity. You get this diagnosis, you know where it ends. And now you're seeing a lot more hopeful discussion about, well, can we stave this disease off? These drugs are showing promise. We have potential for blood biomarker testing that you're starting to see teased by pharmaceutical companies out there that this is something that can be offered by your healthcare provider. Can we get ahead of this disease and start managing it and giving people those years back that they're being robbed from them mentally and physically?
You brought up something, Rob. One of the things that I was going to talk about on Saturday, and I'm going to jump ahead and do it a little now, just based on what you said, and
for
also
bringing
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Is for me, what I think gets lost in there is the positivity of the experience. I had so much time with my dad, who spent his life taking care of me, to sit there, to take care of him, to feed him. He liked music. I would, put on music, and those pieces that he could remember, we shared that. And every step, even though it was hard, those are the moments that I hold and know I got time that was unique and special with him that you might not have when it's just every day. Oh, you forget, like, oh, there's my dad. Like, oh,
Yep.
How's it going? But when you have to go see them like that time is different. And for me, that's the positive side. That's the side of I got all that with my dad. And I want people who are going through that now to not miss that moment. It's super important to me.
We're talking to Rob and Shari here from the Walk to End Alzheimer's, and it is happening here. And it sounds like the fundraising is going well. We're going to go way over the top, or over 192,000. But it's happening this weekend, starting at Perry Square. Registration at 9. Opening ceremony at 10. What does that look like, Rob? The opening ceremony?
I mean,
don't give too much away.
I don't want to. It's a very, very visual event.
Nice.
It has a really large visual component. A lot of walks out there. You talk, you intro, you go on the walk, and there's nothing wrong with that, believe me. But there's a very visual component with these Promise Garden flowers, and they're integral into the presentation. The presentation itself isn't lengthy, 20 minutes, 25 minutes at most. And then, like last year, I think we had 600 people on the walk. And This year, we're trending over 700, so it's growing. And there's kids on scooters up front, leading the pack. And, it's just it's really cool. It's cool to walk down a street. It's cool to walk down a street like 6th Street in Erie, Pennsylvania, a street that has so much history just on the sides of the road as you're going down. And it's a beautiful oak line tree street. I mean, like, come on. It's
right in Gannon's neighborhood. It's in a lot of people's neighborhoods.
The courthouse's
right?
neighborhood, the community foundation's neighborhood, Kidder Walker's neighborhood. Like there's so much on 6th Street, and it's just a beautiful walk, and it's a beautiful street to walk on.
Well, this sounds phenomenal. Again, I'm looking right at the website, alz.org, and then just look for the walk for Erie. And what I was astounded at, too, is just the sheer number of Pennsylvanians that have been diagnosed. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of people.
Yep.
I mean, this is impacting everybody.
Yeah, it really is. And Alzheimer's is a form of dementia, and it's sort of under that umbrella of the dementias, and it's a little more broader reaching than I think people realize. And there's a, it's hard to describe what it's like. You always look at your loved ones as like this cognitive, this is the person they are, and that changes. And I found that to be the most difficult.
It is.
Yeah.
You just see a person go through multiple stages of things, and they forget your name. And then for me, I always felt like my dad knew. He knew we were important. There came that stage where he knew who we were. Then he just didn't know who was who. Then he just didn't know. And then all of a sudden it's like, you're important to me, but I don't know why, to right where, we're not acknowledging anything. And it's just a painful experience to see them go through that, and then what you internalize while you're watching them go through that, knowing that there's not anything you can do. It's a real thing to experience.
Well, this is something that gives people agency, isn't it? If you're feeling that helplessness, I can't do anything, you can help a friend get a little help from the Alzheimer's Association.
Well, and the other thing I think we should totally mention, I'm glad you mentioned that, Joel, because I didn't even think to say it before, and this is my fault, but some of our biggest sponsors are people that work in this space. And at the walk, we have vendor tables all the way around, and there's resources and groups that help support advocates, groups that help support caregivers, because this disease not only affects the person, but the person directly caregiving for them, it affects them too. And it affects the whole family structure. And sometimes I think the caregiving aspect of it can get lost. The person suffering from the disease, you don't realize the person adjacent to them has to adapt to a new way of living and be a caregiver and continue on with whatever their life is at that particular moment. And, my mom was fortunate enough that she was a stay-at-home mom, so she was able to care for my dad for a long time by herself because she didn't have any other commitments. But not everybody's that lucky.
No, it was a real crazy situation in my family because my mom, they were married over 50 years, and she was taking care of him, and then my brother and I, we worked together. And so when she needed help and she started to struggle with that emotionally, as well as, because of her age, all the different things and everything that goes along with it, she would call us. And so we're going, okay, who's going to go help mom? Who's going to run this side of the business? And it's a scrambling effect. And everybody's trying to do their best and, get through it. And it's got the caregiver aspect for me is very personal too, because you watch what it does to a family. And that's why I say there's just so many different facets to this, and we need to be addressing all of them.
And I think the cool part about the promise card and ceremony is that it is really it's not just about the disease, it's about advocates. There's people that have a certain flower color that says, hey, like, I'm not directly affected by this disease, but I'm here because I want to help people. And then there's people that are caregivers that are going through this.
It sounds like it's really well thought out.
It is really. It is. It's really honoring everybody surrounding this disease.
Yeah, and the caregivers, my dad, eventually we had to get assisted living because of where things were. And I feel like they became part of a family to us. He had a whole nother side of a family is how I felt.
Yep.
Wow.
I want to make sure to mention too, over at Mighty Fine Donuts, we turned our twist purple for the Alzheimer's this year. And so you will ask about the different ways that you can donate. Go in and ask them to add a purple twist to your dozen. We'll donate for that. You can pre-order the whole entire purple dozen, so it's not just the twists.
Okay.
All of that is intended to go, towards the Alzheimer's Association, and we have a QR code. One of the things I wanted to mention, we called it our Making Mighty Fine Memories, because everybody has a story with their family here where they maybe, enjoyed something like that. So go. That's intended to, be for this, and let's turn the town purple this weekend.
And they are mighty fine.
Yes, they are mighty fine. Looking forward.
And they are the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I don't just say that.
Exactly.
They are.
Well, that's all the time we have. I'm amazed at the embracing of this event. That seems that the community is coming around because it's impacting so many. When you're talking about the caregivers, I'm thinking about that. that high school kid that has a football game, but mom or dad is taking care of grandpa.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It reaches into generations.
Yep. Yeah, it does. It really does.
It really does.
Again, Saturday, September 20th at Perry Square. Go to alz.org, click on the Walk to End Alzheimer's, look for the Erie Walk, and make sure that you donate. And come on out, register, and build a team. Thank you so much, Rob Frank and Shari Robinson. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us.
You got it here. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show here at 6 minutes in front of 4.